Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back through your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Hedera and HBAR. So let's just dive in and let's start off with the overall price. So it's kind of wild right now that I'm recording this and HBAR sitting at roughly almost 4 cents yet again. We have been watching the market kind of react to a lot of the recent news. As we really kind of look at HBAR, you know, it is questionable on if we are going to come back down to that January low. It's roughly around like 3.5 cents. I know on TradingView, on CoinMarketCap, it's a little bit different. I'm watching it very closely. I also think that coming down to this range back here where it was at like around roughly 2.5 cents to 3 cents would be very large for the long term. Nonetheless, as we really kind of look at this market, I think a lot of the news that we are seeing right now, a lot of it is short-term distractions. A lot of it is short-term FUD. I think that the long term, I'm still very bullish on a lot of these utility tokens. Obviously, still investing what I can afford to lose in anything. But I do think that the long-term view here on a lot of these assets like Hedera, like XRP, XLM, Casper, Algo, Polygon, you name it, right? A lot of these tokens that have a lot of great utility tied to them, I believe that they are going to be the long-term winners. And although, yes, you know, at times this market can, you know, be very frustrating to be in. And I know that sometimes, you know, for those that are emotional holders, you know, I know how frustrating it can get. I understand how emotional the ride can be as well. At times, you know, you're on top of the world, and at times you just feel like everything is crashing down. But at times like this in the market, you do have to take a step back and realize why you even put your money into this market in the first place. As we really kind of look at what's happening around technology and what's happening around some of these assets like HBAR, you know, the fundamentals are still there. Price, yeah, sure, price is still, you know, at around like 4 cents. You know, we were just trading at 10 cents back in, you know, February. Now we're at, you know, 50% of that price. What's crazy about this though is that as everyone is still focused on price, I'm focused on the news recently around the SEC and regulations and the uncertainty around the regulatory area of crypto. And I look at the assets like Hedera that did things the right way. And although, you know, some question on if there even is a right way to do things in the US, and I even said it myself, like the SEC is not here for, you know, innovation. They're not here for the people. They don't care about any of that. But as we look at some of the projects that have done things the right way, here you have Christian Hasker talking about the ICO boom and what Hedera actually did to raise funds. And we do see we said no to the ICO boom in 2017. We actually did a Reg D SEC compliant fundraise, so only accredited investors could purchase this SAFT, or if you will, SAFT. Subsequent fundraise have also complied with both SEC and CFTC regulations. And yes, as we really kind of look at Hedera and we look at the regulatory uncertainty around the space, I believe that Hedera is one that has done things the right way. Does that mean that they will or won't be targeted? We have no idea. Right? The SEC hasn't done things the right way for a while. Coinbase is a perfect example of that. Ripple is also a perfect example of that. A lot of these companies have tried to come into compliance with the SEC, and you know, they thought they were in compliance, and it turns out that they weren't. We know that FTX met with the SEC. FTX got the free pass, and look what happened to FTX. So a lot of these projects and a lot of these, you know, companies that were doing things the right way ended up still getting targeted. So we have no idea if Hedera is going to be targeted or not. I think that the chances are a lot lower than most. And I also believe that Hedera is doing things the right way. And I think that Hedera is a very incredible project. I think that the network is great. Does that mean that long term it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread and that, you know, it can't lose money or anything like that? No. But that's exactly why we do invest what we can afford to lose. And when we really kind of look at what Hedera is doing, you know, I do have high hopes for it. And currently speaking, as we look at the Hedera ecosystem, we are sitting at about roughly 750 TPS at the moment, sitting at almost 11 billion transactions. We know just recently they announced the, you know, congratulations on 10 billion transactions video, which was very large. And this happened on May 28th. So, you know, just a little over a week, almost 2 weeks now, we already added another billion transactions to the network. So, there is a lot of utilization here happening. And I do think that's only going to continue to grow from here on out. And I already know that a lot of people are asking, like, why isn't the price changing at all if we are seeing these transactions and we're seeing a massive amount of transactions as well at that? And the big thing is that it's the fees, right? There's not enough fees here to generate a ton of revenue. I've said this about Ethereum. The reason why Ethereum is priced at the price today, and the reason why Ethereum has such a large market cap is, to transact on Ethereum, it costs an arm and a leg. On Hedera, it doesn't. But I think that that's a very beneficial thing, and I'll talk to you guys about it here in a second why. But also, we do see top 10 TPS networks. Once regulation kicks in, institutions will look at charts like these and will choose Hedera among a select few. Hello, future. And here you have top 10 TPS networks. Hedera sitting at almost 1,000 TPS compared to all of the other major networks out there. As we look at the TPS demand here, yes, I think that as we see regulations and things kind of come to this space to welcome in adoption, institutions are going to be buying up a lot of these tokens. They're going to be investing into a lot of these networks. You're also going to start to see a lot more enterprises come into this space. A lot more legitimate use is going to be utilized, meaning, if we look at Hedera's tokenization as a service, for an example, that's going to be a big one. But again, it's going to be the networks that are not extremely expensive to utilize. As we look at Hedera, they recently just crossed the 10,000 TPS threshold. This has been something that we've been following for so long because it was throttled at 10,000 TPS for so long, waiting for it to get broken. We finally got it broken. 10,592 TPS. Real transactions, real world utility. And when we go over to Metrica, here you guys have those TPS, 10,592. This is a very huge milestone. It's a historical milestone as well. Let it be known that whether or not you think that this is a big deal or not, it does not matter. It is a big deal because the network was throttled at 10,000 TPS for the longest time, and we have finally broken that. Love to see it. Now, like I said, yes, this isn't changing the price. Listen, if it was changing the price, we wouldn't be sitting at, 4 cents or so. But I want you guys to understand this is short term. This is off of, one enterprise use case. So think about that, right? Like the one enterprise use case is doing this. When you have regulations kick in, and like I said, Hedera is a project that has done things the right way so far. And, we haven't gotten targeted by the SEC, knock on wood. But if we look at what Hedera has been doing, they've been working with some of the highest grade names out there. They've been doing things the right way for the longest time. A lot of the things that they have been, focused on have been right in compliance with regulations. And as the regulatory battle continues on around crypto, especially in the US, we do question on what does the future look like for crypto? And in my opinion, yes, we will have regulatory frameworks within crypto, hopefully ones that are very beneficial for the space and innovation. And once we do have that, well, enterprises and institutions and very large names are going to be flocking to crypto because I do think that this is the next, major asset class. Whether it be $100 trillion asset class or not, this is going to be the next frontier for technology. And I do think that, the tech space itself is going to boom around crypto. I think that crypto is the next major innovation. And as we do look at that, the question is, what is going to be the TPS here for Hedera? What is going to be the transactional demand for Hedera? And we don't know, right? No one's going to tell you. But I do think us hitting 10,000 TPS right now for the max TPS, and this is off of one enterprise name, that is extremely big because the future is very bright going off of these statistics alone. And by the way, I seen a tweet that resonated with me very well from Mickle_Web3. And we do see, I feel like we don't talk enough about the fact that HBAR has fixed fees. From an enterprise adoption perspective, it's a complete game changer. Imagine being Google or Apple and not knowing the cost of running billions of transactions in the next month. It's the details. And yes, right? Like right now, everyone's always centered out on price, and I get it. Listen, The thing is that you wouldn't be tied to price if you weren't overinvested. And I know that that is a very cocky way of saying it, but essentially it's the truth. If you can put money in and completely forget about it, it's the best thing that you can do. You lock it away in cold storage, and that's it. Because if we look at this space and if we look at the evolution historically around technology asset classes, it takes some time. That time is very crucial though, because I even said it around crypto many times. A year in crypto is essentially 7 years in the tech world. Things are moving fast, 24/7, 365. Hedera is proof of that. Hedera has grown astronomically over the last couple years, and ultimately speaking, going all the way back to 2021 to now, it's a night and day difference. Yes, price completely different in a negative way, but the network itself completely different in a very positive way. I believe that going forward on in the space, utility is going to shine the brightest, and we already know that real world utility here is thriving on Hedera. And I do think that HBAR is a blue chip name in the space, and I also think that HBAR, or Hedera if you will, is going to be a household name. I've been saying that since going all the way back to 2021, and it's because of what is happening here on Hedera. We're seeing enterprise grade adoption, and they're utilizing the network, and that's proof. We can see that in the transactional demand. And it's only a matter of time until we start to see transactions that will be generating a ton of revenue on Hedera. Currently speaking, year to date, it's roughly about $838,000 that's been generated. I know that that's not a lot. And, I've said it many times in the past. I know that currently speaking, the revenue from these transactions is nothing too exciting, but that's in the short term. Long term, we will see revenues on Hedera that are in the tens of millions of dollars, the hundreds of millions of dollars, and ultimately the billions of dollars. And once we see that, then you will see a major change in scenery around the price. And although, yes, like if we look at cycles, yeah, this market is brutal right now, but we know things change. And if the technology is here, if the fundamentals are here, and if the utility is here, which we know it is, then things going forward on in time are going to look a lot different. And also, even the total monthly transactions on Hedera have been focused on greatly by names like House of Chimera, for an example. They're talking about how the monthly transactions have exploded. And here, if we actually look at the transactional demand, going back to 2022, not even 2021, look at the growth in transactions. This is absolutely wild. Like, this is what, I've been focused on, is the fundamentals here. It's so easy. It's so easy to get caught up in the price and the negativity around the price. And I understand it, right? Like, we're investors here. We're trying to make money. We're not trying to lose money. But the key word there is investors. Investors, wait. We're talking years until seeing a major return. Technically speaking, this is a market where you are speculating on your investment. You're speculating that in some point in time, you will make money on what you are buying. It's all speculation until it happens. And right now, if we look at the network, it's happening. The price action, though, is not. So we're not making money right now on HBAR. But I do suspect that that will change eventually. And that's me speculating, but also from what we have seen around Hedera, I do think that we will see a major change in scenery. The entire market right now, at the time that I am recording, looks brutal. It is brutal. We are seeing a lot of altcoins down, double-digit plus figures, and it is rough out there. But I want you guys to understand that we've seen things like this happen before. We have seen all hope around this market lost before. A good example of this, a prime example of this, is March of 2020. And when you look at this chart, yes, I could see it, but most people wouldn't even tell you where March of 2020 is on this chart if you got rid of dates and just showed them the chart, because it is such a small area on this chart. And, it is funny. It's funny to look back in time and gauge the sentiment around the market because, long term, the gains are obviously very large. Long term, everything is still the same. The only difference is is price. And I love to see the market get extremely bearish because it is usually a good time to be in the market at those times. And right now, I still feel the same way that I've always been feeling, which is the fact that when you take a step back and you look at what's actually happening around crypto and technology, and historically what's been happening around technology as well, it's true. We will see cycles where, all hope is lost. But once we see regulations and the true players shine the brightest, that's when you see the future Amazons and Googles of the world being built. And I think that we are seeing that right now in the space. That's why I say it's crucial to focus on the actual utility tokens here. And Hedera is a prime example of that. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys have more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the video Discord down in the description below. It says that you all have a beautiful day, beautiful night. If you guys are on this, people, this has been Nick. Peace out, guys.